We had a great week down at Fifth Third Field. Let's welcome in Matt Melzak to recap the action between the Toledo Mud Hens and the Omaha Storm Chasers. Matt, the Hens currently in a first-place tie in the AAA East.
Well, I'll tell you what, Claire, who would have thought that after, they won the first 2 games of the entire season back in May. Then they went 1-9. 1-9 in the 10-game stretch after that. At one point, you're looking at a 3-9 record. They had just gotten bombed by Indy, and you're thinking, oh, man, this could be a long year. But the way they've played since that, with just racking up series wins, it adds up after the course of time. And slowly but surely, they've been chipping away. At one point, they were 9 games back of Omaha. To have made up those 9 games, it just tells you how long you got to take sometimes in a baseball season to make up ground. It's taken them basically 2 months to go from 9 games back to into a first-place tie. But what they've done is they've constantly won series. They did it again this week. They had to win the last 3 games of the series to do it, but they did, and that allows you to get into this first-place tie. And we're in early August, so there's still a lot of baseball to be played, but a chance at a division title, which would be fantastic.
What do you credit their success this last week to?
Well, I think one thing with the last week was the way their pitching staff adjusted to Omaha's offense. Think about what we've been seeing all year long, Claire. You're talking about these 6-game series, and I've asked Tom Prince this, I've asked Doug Bockler this, I've asked Jeff Branson this. Who has the advantage as the series wears along? And sometimes it is the pitching staff, and a lot of them talk about that because you start to see hitters more. You get their tendencies down. Now all of a sudden you're seeing, okay, this guy, he likes to lean a little bit more when I start to work the outside corner. So now I'm going to try to, bust him inside for one and then go back away, and you start to see the strikeouts racking up, and you watch how the series went along. Omaha hit the baseball really well in the first 3 games of that series. The last 3 games, the Mud Hens held them in check, and they won those 3 games because the pitching staff came alive in those last 3. Give them a lot of credit when you start looking at the way the starters work. Pedro Payano didn't have his best stuff. He walked 6 on Friday, but he still managed to keep the runs at a very low, only 1 unearned run allowed, because he only allowed 2 hits. So he kept the ball in the ballpark. That was key. And then, you turn around and you let your offense do things. Toledo's offense is going to score enough to win a lot of nights. It just depends on how their pitching staff is going to respond. And remember, they gave up 14 runs in a game in this series, Claire, but the way they finished out the series was phenomenal.
Now, speaking of the Mud Hens offense, we have top 5 plays of the week coming up here later today, and I think we could do an entire top 5 of Christian Stewart. The kid just connects. Seems like every time at bat. Yeah,
and he had a monster home run off of the marathon sign in right. He is blasting. He had a grand slam to center field, which was phenomenal. When you look back at that, because one of the things that, he always sees the shift a lot. Everybody moves to the right side of the infield. They're playing him to pull the baseball all the time. If he can go to center field, if he can go the opposite way a little bit more, because he's got tons of power. We know that. You're talking about it too. He can hit a bunch of home runs, and he can do it in a short order. It's just a matter of being able to spray the baseball around enough for him that'll get his batting average up, and that's one of the reasons why it is up right now.